Hello, book lovers! It's been a while. The question is, do I still read books? Yes, of course I do. I just don't really make videos right now. If you wanna watch me, what I read, go to my Instagram. I'm active there still, always. Since winter, I didn't feel like making any videos. I feel like I don't have time for it. I don't have time for the editing, even though I like doing it. And 2 days before Christmas, we unexpectedly lost our beloved black cat. Now we have our 2 boys still, and I definitely wasn't in the right mind space to make videos. And after that, I still didn't have time, didn't have the mood. It's been 6 months of reading, of books, and I decided to do this tag and let you know about my reading year so far. I would also love to say I've picked up a new hobby I'm really excited about. For around 15 years at least, I was fascinated by insects. I never had a camera or a lens that would work for the insects, and I finally have a setup, camera setup, lens, gear. I bought a diffuser from Australia to get better quality photos, and you can go check it out on my macro Instagram now. I'm having fun. It's an outdoor hobby, which is a surprise for me. I love my introvert hobbies. This makes me go out and take photos in the nature. 10 out of 10. Now on to the tag. What is the best book I've read? I'm really devastated to say I have yet to have a 5-star read in 2026. I can't believe it, but that's how it is right now. I did have 3 books that I really enjoyed, almost 5 stars. First one was Gideon the Ninth. I'm really happy to say I really enjoyed it. Reading the whole book felt like watching an animated TV show in my head. That's how I would describe it. It was also very witty and funny. A lot of times I don't appreciate that in a book because it can be cringy, but here it just felt right. The whole book was unique enough. It was its own thing. The humor landed in my opinion and I was enjoying it. I didn't want to tap, but after a few funny sentences I decided to also tap the book, so that was nice. Also there were like scenes. There was this scene when one character had bad luck and bad reaction and something happened, and this slow-mo moment which felt really like out of like manga or anime. Like I could really imagine it. Can't wait to read the rest of the trilogy. Another one is unsurprisingly Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I finally read the start of the next series by him. I really enjoyed the Empire of the Wolf trilogy, highly recommend. And this is set in the same world, only much later. They have guns here now. The whole book, it wasn't 5 stars. It wasn't like super unique. It was following these traditional storylines, I would say. Especially now at the end of the book, it feels more like the traditional storytelling. More character getting together, figuring out stuff, having this main goal, save the world, let's go. So it wasn't like absolutely perfect book, but I just enjoyed this from page 1. I was in, really hooked really quickly. I enjoyed every single storyline. It was just a good book, a solid, really good book. Highly recommend. You can start this if you didn't read the first trilogy. I would still highly recommend reading that first. Yeah, I'm excited for the sequel of this, definitely. The third book I want to show you is by Chon Song. So I read this, 1,000 Blues. I really enjoyed it actually. I gave it 4.5, but I was writing my review and feelings for Instagram and I realized I want to give it more. So I bumped up the rating. I also tabbed a lot of quotes. It's described as sci-fi, but I would say this is more like, to me, it's lit fic with sci-fi flavor, sci-fi vibes and setting. We have a robot, we have a family, relationships, mother, daughters. The daughters have their own issues. The robot is also making the characters question some things. The author brings up multiple different topics with this book. Nothing much happens, honestly, story-wise, but still, we talk about access to medical procedures, about being dispensable, about grief, about relationships, and the most important to me personally was animal welfare as well. That was brought up here, so I just really liked it. I really recommend it to anyone interested in something like this. Second question, what was the best sequel I've read? I would say Richard Swan, if that counts. It is a sequel in the world, but not really. It's the first book of a trilogy, so if I have to pick something else, I would say Rhythm of War. I guess not everyone liked this one. It was definitely slow and long, and it wasn't that exciting for long parts of the books. I have part 1, part 2 right now. That's how I read it. However, the last third and the ending really made up for it. The rating went up, and in the end I really enjoyed it. For new release that's out, I'm excited about. There's multiple ones, but 2 I'm most excited about is, of course, Children of Strife by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Most of the time I'm waiting for small paperbacks, so I'm waiting for that, really excited. And also my favorite non-fiction writer, Steve Brusate, has his new book out, The Story of Birds. I loved the mammals, the dinosaurs, highly recommend. And also I'm waiting for that book, for the edition to come out that I buy, so they match. Really excited. For biggest disappointment, I'm happy to say I didn't have a single book that was like less than 3.5 stars. Absolutely horrible book, unlike last 2 years. But I had few books that were confusing me. I didn't know what to rate them, and they confused me. They got the lowest rating, 3.5. That was Tigana from Guy Gabriel Kai. That was my least favorite out of the 3 I read so far. The potential was big, but it didn't hit as it should. Next one was The Book of the New Sun, the first part. I really enjoyed the start. I thought it's gonna be good, and the start was good, but then it got weird and confusing, not in a great way, and pulled some things, and in the end I just couldn't overlook the mistreatment of women once again. That was the biggest issue of mine with Jack Vance as well. And here I thought it's much better, but in the end it was still an issue. And I will read the second book, but I already know, I guess, unfortunately, they will not be staying on my shelves. Too bad. Also, I did read The Once and Future King. Conflicting feelings. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it's gonna be more like serious, not like almost casual and whimsical, but at the same time people were dying in the book, and there was this drama. Lancelot was my favorite character, but the drama just was way too long. I lost interest. Also, there was animal death and torture scene, and that was absolutely horrifying. I don't recommend that. That's start of chapter 2. You've Been Warned. I read Sabriel for the first time in my life, and it was definitely more for a younger audience, but also the story was almost just starting when it already ended, so I just didn't love it. Unfortunately, I might continue digitally, but I don't need a book. It was just fine. And I like the necromantic magic in the afterworld, interacting with the bells, multiple bells. That was really cool. Last but not least, this one would be my biggest disappointment, I would say. Sea of Tranquility by St. John Mandel. Unfortunately, my first book by this author. I was disappointed. I expected to really like this book. I also thought maybe this gonna be some lit fic with sci-fi vibes, but it was not great, and like the plot twist and emotional pulling that was attempt was not working at all. In the end, I was like, why? What was the point of this? Didn't even had many interesting points, and it was kind of disjointed. You have to give it that. Wasn't a fan of that, yes. For my biggest surprise, I would have to say A Thousand Blues was my biggest surprise. I expected to like it, but I ended up loving it way more than I thought, so recommend you to check it out. But don't expect there to be some big story, because as I'm saying, not much is happening, but there debate about some things and characters thinking and rethinking some topics. That's what's interesting in this book. For favorite new author, of course, Tamsin Muir with Gideon. I love the writing. I guess you either really like it or you dislike it. I really liked it. And I also read 2 books by Michael J. Benton, non-fiction books, prehistoric books, and I really enjoyed them too. Like, it was a little bit more on the drier side compared to other books I read on this topic, but I still really like them. Really good writing and really organized. I would read more from this author. For the question if I have new favorite character, I would say Gideon and Harrow. They were definitely likable characters in my opinion, and also their interactions were interesting. And recently I finished The Alloy of Law. I'm continuing the Sanderson Cosmere. I was a little bit worried because many people don't like this Mistborn second era, but I'm happy to say that after just 300 pages, I like these characters. I like Bax and Vane. I like their interactions, and I'm just vibing. Like, it's good in my opinion, and I'm excited to continue. The second book is also pretty short. Next question is, did a book make me cry? Well, I'm actually sad to say not really. I love if book can make me cry because it's a good book that pulls you emotionally. I didn't cry, but I was upset about in the scene what happened to the character with A Rhythm of War, no spoiler, and Between Two Fires, which was also a really good book I read, and one of the characters, one of the scenes, I was slightly semi-checked out after that. I was upset. Most beautiful cover. Of course, there's a lot of covers. I have a lot of new books. Many of them have beautiful covers. However, I really enjoy this cover. Colorful seahorse against the black background, really curious about this book. The cover had me. Another beautiful book is this book I got secondhand. It's Lovecraft, stories. I love me some eldritch cosmic horror, and I need to read more of his stories. I've read 2.5, I don't know, I've read some. I need to read this whole book. I got it for pretty cheap, silver sprayed edge. Yeah, beautiful book. However, the first place I would give to this book I also got secondhand. It's this special edition of Overgrowth. I really wanted this book because Plant Aliens, something eco horror. This dust jacket is pretty. Underneath it though, I really fell for this hardcover. It's just plants and some gold foiling, but it's really nice and clean and pretty. Somehow I got this secondhand for cheap. For books I want to read in 2026, in the second half of the year. There's many, of course, but for some specific ones I would love to read and finish the Light Ship Traders by Robin Hobb. I've read only Ship of Magic and I need to read the other two books. I would love to do it in the next 6 months. I also would love to read some other books like Towards Eternity, Jurassic Park, the first part of Gormenghast. I would like to start Sun Eater finally. Just the first book, taking it slow. I'm kind of nervous because the hype is big. It's really hyped book. I'm scared I'm not gonna love it like a lot of other people and I'm gonna disappoint them by not loving it. But we'll see. There's nothing you can do how you feel about books. I'm gonna be honest. I would love some medieval story, medieval horror, so maybe Once Was Willem. I would love more Becky Chambers and maybe Ruth Roth, Monstrilio. I also want to target some books I think I might unhaul, and that's Black Hawks, Dracula, Ivory Key, Station 11 because I didn't love the other book from this author, and maybe Reverse Solomon book because I have 2 now, and of course many more books. I have a lot of series I'm in the middle of. I also started Dandelion Dynasty. I'm just starting more series without finishing the other ones, so I need to work on that a little bit more. Yes, that's all from me, I would say. I hope I will make some more videos, not only once in 6 months. I hope I will have time for that. I will keep reading books. I will keep posting about them on my Instagram. Go check it out. I will keep watching other booktubers here on YouTube, and I'm very curious what everybody else's best book of 2026 so far was. Go ahead and leave me a comment. My TBR is ever expanding. My shelf space is running out, and right now I don't have space for more shelves because I need all of my books in one place. It's just me. I cannot put other shelves in another room. That would make me uncomfortable. OCD, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this video, this mid-year check-in. I will also have a short about my favorite books from last year, so go watch that too. Fine reading year so far, and I hope you also have fun reading books you want to read. Thank you for watching this video. If you watched it and you watched this far, I will hopefully see you soon again, and have a great rest of the summer. The autumn cannot come soon enough, right? Just keep reading books.